Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
Welcome back to Xenogears, folks. Let's begin.
It's gonna be like Order of the Phoenix kind of whining.
You'll
see.
Sure.
I'll take Order of Phoenix anyway.
Sure, I take
Also-
Order of the Phoenix whining
also
over
Deji's back here
Half-Blood
again.
Prince whining.
Go ahead, Wibs.
Welcome to the Sand Cruiser.
Yggdrasil.
We apologize for the earlier incident. I'm sure everyone has already had the courtesy to introduce themselves, but allow me to introduce the Sand Pirates' leader, Master Bartholomew.
Bart for short.
By the way, may I ask, young Master, did you apologize to Master Fei?
What? Yeah. I told him I was wrong, right? Alright.
Just telling someone you were wrong after the event isn't going to solve everything, your master. I'm sorry I delayed introducing myself.
I'm first mate.
My name is Sigurd, the first mate of the Sun Cruiser.
Well then, please let me know if you need anything.
That's the situation. So now, forgive me, will ya?
Yo, master, stay out of mischief.
Ouch! Hey, don't pull my ears!
Let us go and wait in our cabin until we arrive. It is well made and comfortable.
You know how
Thanks,
messed up
Citan. I
is it?
didn't knew to that.
You know how messed up is it that the sand
Hold
pirates are-
on.
What is wrong?
No, well,
Something happened?
no, nothing.
So, how messed up is it that the sand pirates are probably the people who have treated us the best so far?
There might be an explanation behind that as well, but we need to wait, I think, at the end of this part for it at the very least. Anyway, we basically now we use this to explore a bit more the Yggdrasil, you know. So let me also put to speed edge on another thing that I forgot to mention. Essentially, at the end of the previous part, towards the end, after a boss fight, Fei had a moment where Bart was in danger. So Fei had a kind of a snappy moment where he destroyed the boss using an attack that, by his own words, did not knew that he could do it. And keep in mind, remember, Fei still has this kind of amnesia that that he can't remember anything past the previous 3 years. Anyway, in the Yggdrasil, you have literally anything that you want. The gear shop, the regular shop, you know. You have this hangar where you can see all of your gears on display. So that's pretty cool. And the shop will get updated regularly. Sadly, you cannot actually check the vending machine, so no tea or espresso. But they tend to suck anyway.
Can I ask you a question about the combat?
Go ahead.
Is it like in Final Fantasy VII where if you don't move, the enemies will keep wailing?
No, there's no ATB. Instead, it's very old school in a sense that you do it's also similar to stuff like Grandia, for example, where up above you see the health bar of your character, and there's a small bar that fills up until a certain point. You know, that is the moment where your character can engage, but until you execute the action, you can take all the time you want and decide properly what to do. And the character ends immediately after that. So it's not even a case like the enemy or you can hijink each other, you know, with the timing. It all depends on the speed that your character has, or in the case of the gear, how much the output is down to one of its components, you know. The only difference compared to something like Grandia is that each character gets their own bar that fills up, instead of having a single bar that showcases each character moving along until it reaches a certain point. So there is that. There you go. The Yggdrasil has some, you know, gear part that you can do, that you can already upgrade, you know, put to upgrade for both Veltal and Brigandier. But the other thing that I didn't mention, but it should be obvious, upgrading part is very expensive, so you need to dedicate a bit potentially of grinding to do. But like I said, the game finds ways to shove money towards you anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. There you go.
Okay.
Anyway, I think next I'm gonna go through the rest of the ship. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. This is a good moment.
I got one.
Yeah, Dweebs first. Go ahead.
Okay, so I wonder when we're going to be seeing more main characters than just these two.
Don't worry, we
Well,
will see soon.
Get Bart.
We will soon enough, but not to mention, yes. Remember, Dweebs, this game has a slow pace to begin with, meaning that the introduction of the character gets diluted. It's not even a case of you have a 6-hour ranger that arrives at the very last second. No, I think before the 2/3 mark, you get all the party members that you normally have, which is a bit late than the regular RPG of this time, admittedly, but it's still not completely that far.
God forbid they pull what Final Fantasy II did with the cast.
Okay, well, true. I guess Leon arrives right before the final dungeon. That is true. FF2 operated on a different thing where you had three static party members, and the fourth one was rotating between basically guests until Leon showed up again.
So let me guess. As we accumulate more party members, their mechs will show up in the same.
Basically, the gears will show up conveniently in the hangar of the Yggdrasil.
That's nice.
But forgot what I was saying. Keep going, Jova. You wanted to ask something too?
Is it ever about where certain party members can use other mechs and whatnot for further customization?
No.
Or are they always tethered to their mech?
Each person has their own dedicated gear because, again, it's the whole thing about only one person can pilot one specific gear more effectively. Remember, Citan did pilot a bit Beltal, but he did mention that he wasn't particularly comfortable behind the steering wheel.
Makes me imagine Citan will get his own dedicated gear eventually.
Who knows?
Well,
Also,
the fact
Penguin
that he's
Doll.
a party member kind of suggests that.
We'll have to see. Also, yeah, I remember what I was mentioning. You want to know a really bad case about party member shuffling right until the end? It's this very obscure RPG called Crimson Gem Saga. Which, here's the nurse. Hold on, I think I'm gonna talk to her. Yes, we're going to. How do you do? I'm the nurse from the Yggdrasil. I'll do the best I can, so come by sometime. My first impression was excellent. For the record, Edge, this girl decided in the previous part to ask if there was anyone with serious injuries, and when no one turned up, she said how disappointing, basically, or depressing.
What?
Yes, really.
She's a nurse who really
dark humor.
Really wants to help people, even if it
it's
means
like
having to hurt them first.
It's like those. It's like those science investigation shows like CSI or NCIS, where the coroner, for some reason, is super quirky for some reason. Anyway, go on, Dweebs.
I hope you are not too taken back. Lately, there are far too many highly energetic lads around the young master. So yours truly, who is in charge of education, demanded to have this room created.
For sense of class.
Because of that, I ended up having to take a side job. How may I be of service?
Maison will be your shopkeeper for normal stuff, so items and equipment. It's fine, but around the 2/3 mark as well becomes kind of pointless.
This is the weirdest pub I've ever seen. I can't buy cider, but I can get an eyeball.
But you can take a hob stick, I guess. But
wait, Zetasol.
Anyway,
Zetasol, is that?
Zetasol sounds like a disinfectant.
The Zetasol is basically your Phoenix Down. It revives your KO party members. Anyway, there's this very obscure RPG called Crimson Gem Saga on the PSP and mobile, I think, which is the sequel to another super obscure RPG called Astonish a Story. In the US, this Crimson Gem Saga is also published by Atlus, but I don't think it was because it was done by a South Korean company. And it's kind of weird because basically after the first third mark, your definitive party gets formed, but then one of them goes missing towards almost the entirety of the game, and in the final dungeon, everything goes to apeshit because essentially you have also. Oh, sorry, doggy.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I'm spamming X. This is a very energetic dog.
Yes, it is.
But basically, right before the final battle, one of your party member kind of dies, another betrays you, another gets injured and cannot fight, and another gets kind of incapacitated, but then shows up at the very last second, meaning that what normally consists for you having a party of 4 members and you having a tier list of having the best one to use, now gets reduced for the very final boss to have only 3 characters available, and they all suck. So that's the idea of that game of difficulty.
Whoopsie.
Ugh.
Oopsie
You know what I
poopsie.
hate? The sort of games that go, oh, you don't need to worry about this party member, but then in the last minute goes, actually you do. So if you haven't been leveling it up,
And the
sucks
best
for
thing,
you.
and the best thing about it, the game ends on a sequel hook that has never been resolved. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Wow, that's just the jackpotting crap.
Yep.
Anyway, other than that, we saw the engine room. This is instead one of the guests' room. I won't sadly visit this too much, even though I should, because later on, one of the side characters will stay here. So if I wanted to get some extra dialogue, I should have come here. So apologies in advance on that, but it will become more clear later.
Alas.
It's okay. You worked hard enough on this Let's Play.
No. Well, the progress never stops. So there's always room for improvement.
Ooh, a vending
Yeah, if I had to
machine.
say something, the camera kind of fucks up in this section instead of
Yeah.
following you down. So having to find back the stairs to get up gets a bit, hard. Thankfully, it's still doable.
So
Yeah,
you,
they should.
so these guys are pirates. Well, hopefully they have a good bout of food to stave off scurvy and all that.
Yes, don't worry. We even have a hideout. We'll visit it at some point.
Wonderful.
So if this game ever got remade, what would you want besides the obvious they should finish it?
It's the problem, Dej. Remaking / finishing this game would be a hard roast. That's because Takashi doesn't work at Square
Well,
anymore.
again, we will need to have different people working on this as a solution. And yes, I understand that it's a bit of a gamble, but companies like Ziggurat and THQ Nordic showcased that you can get different people to work on expansions of games that they were not originally working on, and can still make them, integrate decently with the product. So I can't believe there is a possibility. Of course, I can't believe it's a super high one. Anyway, let's talk to these people, Don. Go ahead, Pedro. You can be this guy.
This ship uses innumerable effect wings to pulverize sand and wade through it. The only way I can possibly see happening is if Square enters a deal with
again. Sorry, go on.
if Square enters a deal with Nintendo to make that remake Switch exclusive developed by Monolith Soft. That's the only way I can see it working.
I mean, to be fair, this is a case where even with the original people on board, from what I've heard, it sounds like not all.
Hold on. Dreams, you can be this guy. It's a dolphin. I guess it's BRB.
Anyway,
Want to hear some hot sounds that I recorded?
Basically, France is gonna be your sound tester of the game.
I'm not BRB, I'm over here.
Sorry. Again, France is gonna tell us give you the sound effect of all things of the game.
Oh,
So
yes,
why not? And it's integrated with this character because he's supposed to be on the sonar, which is important for a submarine such as this. Anyway, enough already.
And he's wasting time fucking about.
Anyway, as I was...
That's too bad.
Yeah, go ahead, Drover.
Shoot, what was I talking about before I got interrupted there?
You were questioning Pedro's suggestion about, possibly the game working would need to be a Switch exclusive.
Well, not so much that, but that it would require the original people to be on board. Like, to be fair, from what I've heard, this game wasn't perfect, even with the original people on board. So, I wouldn't
also,
say there's nothing
sorry,
to
go on.
suggest that anyone else could maybe improve on it. I suppose
Like,
part of
also,
it-
for example, Pedro, sorry, go on.
Like, I mean, it's like a Crash to Insanity. Some people say, oh, it would only work if you had the exact same team there. I argue, no, you don't need the same team there. I mean,
I have a better suggestion. Sorry, go on.
I mean, hell, look at the Crash Insane trilogy. Like, that had pretty much completely different people working on it. But for the time when it first came out, people loved that remake because it did get stuff pretty well.
I have a more local example, Pedro. Like, who are the people who worked on the DS version of Chrono Trigger?
Wasn't wasn't like an internal team at Square. I forgot.
But not the same people who worked on the original.
Okay. You're talking about okay. If you're talking about like in terms of creative stuff, Mitsuda was there to oversee the music, and Kitase was also there to supervise things. But the ones who did the actual coding were Matrix Software.
Which again, remember that the entire DS thing, the DS adds things, onto that.
Mhm.
So again, I can't believe in a product that can add onto an existing one without the same keen people behind it.
Well, see, here's the thing. Let me reply to Jova though. See, but even so, Jova, this game came out in 1998, was it? There?
Yes.
98. So I mean, Takahashi has gained a lot of experience and released a lot more games since then. So maybe now that he's a seasoned veteran, maybe he can now restart from scratch and fully bring out the potential of this project.
Well, Pedro, I'm not saying that, we should do it without him. What I'm saying is that it's possible to do it without him, especially if he's just not interested in doing it. Like,
not even a matter of interest. It's also a matter of interest for the company because again, if the trade-off for having Takashi on board is to limit the console release, I kind of doubt that Square will want to do that. Even moreover, some of the Switch releases have been ported to somewhere else in recent times.
I was gonna say maybe they have his original notes from the game, like how it was supposed to happen and whatnot.
That's also another good point. The Saga Frontier remastered brought back the entire coding that was there. Now, to be fair, for that one, if I recall correctly, the original creator was around, but it wasn't like one of the key people. The actual dev team done was still different. But anyway, I'm digressing because we have actually reached the hideout, and yes, so that was a reference to Star Trek: The Motion Picture by the deliberate, elaboration of the ship arriving.
I do have a question to ask, but if we're about to have dialogue, let me know.
Yes.
All right, then I'll ask later. Bart, good to see you back. Welcome back,
yeah,
Bart.
Bart is greeted by the children of the idol. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Bart, what did you bring us? Well, I've got a new model gear and 2 people that we helped out.
Lips.
Gear?
Boring. Don't you have anything more interesting?
How mundane.
May
The
instead.
good old future where kids find mechs to be boring. Look, this is amber. I found it in a stalactite cavern under the desert. It's rare to find one with a bug on it.
Oh, great! Now we're gonna start cloning dinosaurs with this. Nope.
Wow, thanks, Bart.
We got some amber.
What's that?
Let's go. We gotta show it off to everyone.
Okay.
Well then, I'm gonna tune up my gear a little. Why don't you 2 have some tea with old Mason?
Why not?
Thanks, old Mason.
But I didn't. Whatever. Please walk this way.
The Mason is suffering.
It could be way, way worse. But anyway.
It's more play for comic relief. Go on, we're gonna have a proper chat with him in a couple of minutes, so go on in the
So
meantime.
one thing that has been established is that apparently stuff on the story is needed. Now, I have not gotten that inkling yet, and it'll probably be something that shows up way, way later down the line. But without
Yes.
spoiling, what type of category of missing content would you say? Like, is it to the point where it feels like the ending is missing, or
No,
entire
the
segments of
ending-
stuff are missing?
The ending is perfectly conclusive. Every major important story arc is resolved. The stuff that is missing is mostly about the part of the lore that you feel will need to be more explanation, especially since it creates kind of a bit of imbalance. Because at least the first part of the game basically takes its time to explain as much as it can, and to showcase different locales and people with the characterization and everything. When by contrast, the more the game goes on, the more it kind of deteriorates on that. So it does become noticeable on that front.
So it's sort of like the Advent Children original release problem, where it feels like stuff that would help facilitate the plot is noticeably missing.
Yes. So, like I mentioned also in one of the previous part, some characters are missing actual also characterization as a result. Both or a couple of them from your party and a couple of NPCs. But like I said, the key important stuff is still fully integrated. It kind of showcased the way it's kind of structured, the missing stuff, Jova. It makes me feel as if Tetsuya Takahashi and the rest of the team, his wife and the rest of the team, took a look at the deadline. We're like, okay, we need to finish in this kind of amount of time. What are the most important things which we should be focused on, and what instead can actually be left aside? And that's pretty much what happened. Also, yay, we can ransack and pillage Bart's room.
An iron whip, which we'll give to him later.
Who is this picture of? Little boy and girl. It's nothing important. Yay, let's mess with the clock. Why not?
And that's good job no one was asleep.
No, Morgana is nowhere near in sight, thankfully. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. Anyway, go on, Lives.
This is the dining hall. I'm sorry it is so gorge. Or however you say it.
Alright, let's have some tea.
Please take a seat. I
And no,
promise you,
Shiro,
this
before
tea
you
is
ask,
not
I don't think they specify what it is. What kind of tea it is.
It's tea. Perhaps you would like some of my famous tea, Master Fei, good doctor? I can even make the tea without touching the handle.
And Citan can drink without taking the cup.
Amazing, is it not?
Young visitors are rare indeed. The young master must be very happy, especially with his kinetic powers. If things are normal, we wouldn't be living in the desert, but rather back in the royal palace.
Wait, what?
Royal Palace. You mean that young one is connected to the old Fatima dynasty?
Let me guess. Palace and village got burned down by bad guy or something, and we had.
Pardon?
Oh, we're actually about to get some explanations.
No, I'm just a senile old fool who talks too much.
You're not
Right.
believable, Alfred.
You're right about the talking.
Pay no
too much
attention
bit.
to what I just said.
Attention to the man behind the
serious?
curtain. But that one-eyed youth does have a certain bearing.
Oh, well spoken, sir. Awfully good of you to notice. If I may, I would like to tell you. The young gent is the last forgotten reminder of the once proud Fatima.
Yeah, Bart is a prince.
That is, before it was
No.
destroyed by Shakan's minions.
Look
Yes.
at that, I was right.
Prince Bartholomew Fatima.
Bartholomew? Bart IV's successor. For a moment there, Dwez was about to turn this into a realm in the Mortal Kombat universe. I am sure they announced Bartholomew died of almost 12 years ago.
Officially, yes. However, in reality, we rescued the young prince from Shakan's evil
He
grasp.
was not gentle on that.
Then why must the prince, the rightful heir, resort to piracy?
And what happened
Because
to
it's
his
fun?
eye?
You wouldn't download a car.
Since fleeing here, we had only one wish.
To be free!
That the young master would grow up to be a great man.
Not to reclaim the throne?
Rome was shit anyway. That is correct. Of course, to say we have absolutely no desire to restore his rule would be a lie.
Does he even know?
We have
Yes,
plans
sir.
for that as well.
Okay.
Part of those plans would include piracy.
Well, yes. But there is a reason for that.
Go on. Oh,
Both Aveh and Kislev are devoted to excavating the ruins. Each country's strength is increasing daily. Even if we could get the help of all our comrades to start a revolution, the combined strength of all of us would still not be enough. We would certainly be suppressed by Shakan's guards in no time at all.
Uh-huh.
We needed power. We We tried excavating the ruins using the Yggdrasil, but it didn't work as well as we had expected. Yggdrasil. The ship. Excavating requires tremendous amounts of time, labor, and capital. The best we could do with our sand cruiser is find small items in the sand.
And the piracy?
I was getting to that!
Well, you weren't fast enough.
You're so fucking rude. Regardless of who gains the ruins of technology, one thing is certain. You're rude, and both Kislev and Aveh will simply use that power to oppress the other. I agreed with the young master's idea of creating a new power to balance things out a little.
I say, good sir, maybe sit down instead of walking back and forth. It must be tiring. It is far more effective to plunder from the shadows than to excavate the technology oneself.
Of course, pillaging is an unpardonable act, but what fucking choice do we have?
Yeah.
Very much.
However, for Aveh, for Ignis to continue like this, I'm sorry if it sounds rather self-righteous.
So that's why these are actually rather, well,
That
good guys.
is something which outsiders like ourselves cannot comment upon.
We're actually revolutionaries more than anything, Jova.
They're pirates fighting for a worthy cause, or, you know, in some cases, some would consider these privateers by official terms.
Once you have told me, I
for a
feel that the
good
result
kingdom.
of what you are doing will be good. Seeing your children here tells me that.
It's like Sir Francis Drake.
Mm-hmm.
I am much relieved by your words.
Nothing escapes Citan's sight.
Another cup of tea?
Yes, please. Thank you.
You know, it's nice that we're able to see eye to eye on this.
Notice, Bob, that Fei hasn't talked nor drink his tea yet.
Oh god, please tell me Faye isn't gonna get self-righteous on them.
You mentioned you had plans, but have you not put them into action?
With Miss Margie imprisoned, we
Margie.
dare not do anything.
She would not happen to be Nissan's.
No, she's not a car, but you are very well informed, my dear doctor. She is the great mother Marguerite of Nissan, and the young master's cousin as well.
Why would Shakan take her captive?
Because he felt like
I
it.
wonder.
For the Fatima Jasper. Or
Jasper.
Jasper.
A Fatima Jasper that is said to show where a great treasure is?
The One Piece?
You read the script? Like a doctor, you do know an awful lot. I am most impressed.
Why, yes, I have read the script, actually.
You do not like my tea, Master Fei?
No, I'm just not thirsty now.
Oh, for God's sake. Well, we have no idea what the great treasure actually is,
Oh my god, it is the One Piece.
but it is said to be strong enough to save our kingdom if it is ever in flight.
Literally the One Piece!
And Margaret has the Jasper that tells the location.
Well, this game came out 1 year after the manga started.
Wait,
Only half of it, to be precise.
wait. When did
Young
this
Master
game
and Miss
come out?
Marguerite each have half.
1998.
1998.
Pretty sure was One Piece's manga?
I'm
already
looking it
going
up
at that
right
point?
now.
Anyway, hold on, this is important. The Fatima Jasper is supposed to be a MacGuffin, but nobody knows what it actually looks like.
Only the heirs to Aveh and Nissan know what it really looks like.
I see, so that is why they have her locked up. My guess is that when they do find out, her chances of living are not... I apologize. I mean,
Way to go, Citan.
I was only supposing the worst case, so please do not take it too hard.
I don't want to hear the fucking worst case! No, but it's a terribly realistic scenario.
Oh, that.
What exactly do you mean by great treasure?
Treasure that is great. Well, I haven't the foggiest.
That's you, Jova.
He means the gear. It has to be it.
Whoop, a dynamic entrance.
Young Master, are the gears alright?
Yeah.
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 Even though they were sealed, sand's gotten into the joints, and it's a pain in the neck to fix. So I'm having the crew take care of it now.
What do you know? What do you know? Sand really goes, ease rough course, irritating gas everywhere.
Oh yeah, Anakin was not lying about that at all.
It was just a
Anyway.
bad romance pickup line.
More tea.
Yeah, it's officially the second worst Star Wars romance pickup line. Oh, yeah. You know, something like that is drawn in one of the Aveh picture scrolls.
Picture scrolls?
No, not.
Well, if you're interested, and let's go to the planning room so we can plan. I'll show you what I mean, since you're my special guest.
Has this become a Downfall parody now? They have a planning group.
That sounds interesting.
Ma-
Gentlemen,
ma-
you can fight in here. This is the war room.
No, again, notice that Fei had nothing to say on the matter.
Master Fei,
So far.
please relax.
Yes, Faye, please stop jumping on the tables.
I was trying to see if I could, if I
can
actually
imagine-
could. Go on, Pedro.
I can imagine when Richard finished translating this bit, that he was all like, "Okay, I'm actually translate this one properly. Maybe now I can make up for that nonsensical sentence I had
Actually-
Citan say."
You know one thing I have to wonder, Pedro. From how you're acting out Richard Mark Honeywood, that implies that he was tired from the very start of the script. So
Well, remember, in general, he knew that he had a lot of work to do. He had to do it alone, and with crunch time and everything. So I get the idea that
Imagine
it
you were
was.
working on 8 at the same time at some point.
That is true as well. Anyway,
I'll admit, part of me does kind of want to believe that at least he started in high enough spirits. Before
They
everything
probably.
went to
Well,
hell.
Jova. Well, actually, I'll answer you next. They're probably in the capital.
Surprised? All this technology is thanks to Sig. Hey, Faye! Don't stand on the screen. We won't be able to see.
whoops.
All right,
Wait,
then.
aren't you-
Display my special file on the main screen. And no, I'm not standing on it. I'm on the edge of it. It's just a weird perspective.
As you can imagine, the Dark Kid actually made a joke by having a nude picture, being there accidentally, and Bart saying, "No, another one."
The Dark Uno?
Wow,
I mentioned he's in part 1.
A picture scroll, nearly 500 years old. This is King Fatima, body cloaked in flames, making a blood
It's
oath of
Fatima the
giants.
First.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say he used the strength of the giants to found Aveh.
It is amazing that such an ancient scroll exists. And
Always-
it's such. Oh, this is typical JRPG stuff, Shitan, don't worry. I thought the Ethos controlled all such things as these.
Normally, yes. But this one, well, this was one of my father's favorite prized possessions. Next! After founding the country, Fatima forced the giants into slumber to protect his kingdom's people if needed in the future. But we don't know where they're hidden. In another record, one of the giants is called the Great Fatima Treasure.
What about the Jasper?
Hey, you sure know a lot. Do you also know about the Horus? Perhaps you're one of Shakan's spies.
Of course not. It is only an intellectual interest, I assure you.
Suck.
I'm keeping my eye on you.
Funny.
I literally
Sorry.
have only the one. Just kidding. It appears the Jasper is the key to the treasure.
A key. Could that be what Shakan is looking for?
I mean,
he
how
can
else are you
conquer
gonna
it?
open the treasure?
Not
That
just
way he
him.
can conquer.
Kepler's also looking for it.
If Shakan gets the key, he'll be able to conquer Earthrealm. Oh wait, sorry. Then you must write.
You're telling me? Ahem.
Oh, so didn't you say not to get on top of the screen?
That's a
Anyway,
good
since
good
we
point.
helped you, I was wondering if I could ask you for a favor.
Would that be for us to help you rescue her? Get out of the get on top of the screen, Citan. Get out of there.
Right, boy. That's exactly it. I heard from
Right, boy.
Sigurd. It seems that both Aveh and Kislev are after you, so you're wanted men, just like us. So we can help you and you can help us. How about it? It's not much to ask.
Well, if it pays for my room and board, then I will help in any way that I can. What do you think, Faye? You have not said anything for a while.
I'm sad.
Yeah, you were great back there in the stalactite cavern. Your strength alone is greater than 10 or 20 of Shakan's guards.
A lot.
Oh boy.
I'd love to have your power on my side. You're almost as good as I am.
Why does everyone want to make me fight?
Huh? What's wrong with you all of a sudden?
Hey.
I just don't feel like it. Allowed to have my power? I don't have any. What's wrong with you, Doc? Everyone. You're driving me to the brink.
God forbid.
Oh,
what's
the
that?
Yanks.
Then there's that gear, Graf and my father. I don't have the time to help you out with your problems when I got enough of my own.
Oh, okay, now I'm even tagging this as a prick.
Okay.
Oh, no,
It
no.
is-
Just let the scene happen.
What's with him?
What's with?
Is he always that short-tempered?
No, that is not it. I'm sorry. He's been through a lot. Things have happened so fast that he has not had time to deal with it all yet. Try to understand.
That
Not
is
to
a
mention,
good
Dwibs.
point.
Not just that, Dwibs. Let me throw that question onto you, Dwibs. If I suddenly came on to you right now, all of a sudden, David, we need your help to save the world right now. Please come here and get on top
No
of this
pressure.
tank.
Where are me mom?
Would you immediately accept it without any resistance? I doubt it.
I mean, I'd question him. I would go going about saying, no, I can't do it.
You have to again, Dweebs, unlike you, Fei also had the emotional baggage of having the village being destroyed, being chased by people, having a guy randomly showing up out of nowhere and telling you that his life sunk and he killed his father. You know,
My room, enter and die.
and on top of that, again, he has this all amnesia kind of thing. So in a way, I can still understand a bit what Faye is going, but don't worry, the game kind of does still have a point in trying to have this thing being discussed by quoting something all on this bit. It's actually optional, by the way.
Wow, he's fast.
Boy, what's up with this Fei guy?
I'm totally not here!
I try and become his friend, and he suddenly explodes in anger. What kind of Sooner am I dealing with? Well, looks like he's got a lot on his mind, and I don't want to force him. Yes, that is good. But he would be fun to fight. Maybe I'll ask again. If I lie in wait under the elevator...
That's another good thing to
And then he got
mention.
squished to death.
Again, Bart is clear hot-head, and sometimes lets the blood rush to his head. But he has the heart in his right place, and he's still someone that is young, that is still young and has to learn. Again, the end of the part will have a speech that will, try to sum up the entire situation, both towards Faye and towards Bart. Again,
That's basically Teo and Deji. He's kind of like Yamato and Ryujogo.
Kinda.
It is also
And again, the whole angst tied to mech stuff is as old as the first Mazinger Z, So, again, sure, there was Shinji again around this time with Evangelion, but like he said, this was more coincidental than anything. Apparently, again, the youth dealing with the emotional instability of that is by piloting giant robots and fighting these eldritch things, gets discussed a lot. And to quote something profane on that, like Producer Y, it's the game trying to start a conversation on that, at the very least.
And to give Bart also further credit, while he's a hothead, he is a guy who does reflect on stuff and is willing to come to the conclusion that maybe I didn't handle this the best, and how can I?
There's also this. I think the game will hint at it later on, but I might as well just explain a bit while I'm just fucking around and seeing a bit stuff from the anger.
Can I answer Jova's question?
Go on.
Okay. That's the thing, Jova. Honestly, if you ask me, when it comes to Richard's high spirits, I'm pretty confident when his entire team quit in mass. I'm pretty sure the high spirits went with them.
Yeah, that
is also a good point. Honestly, I'm surprised we don't have a what happened of, at the very least, the localization.
Well, you did mention something like that in part 0, I think. But no, okay, another thing we need to note from what the mechanic told you is that Veltal surprisingly seemed to have a lot of hidden components that the mechanics could not seem to understand. Anyway, this is our gear Heimdall. We're just having it as a spare, basically.
Get that one, isn't he?
But to get to the point, what I was also mentioning, another thing for Bart is that Okay, I think the game is gonna hint at it at some point at the very least. But regardless, one thing that was supposed to be elaborated a bit more, but was not, at the very least, told as it should have been, was the circumstances under being rescued. Which also is tied to why Citan loves to use the whip. Shakan literally had him whipped every single day as a child while he was a prisoner. The poor kid is just as traumatized as Fei, if not more.
Wait,
So-
wouldn't that get brought up in story, or was that just an extra detail that?
Like I said, it's probably it's a thing that was supposed to be elaborated more on, but the game at best will probably just do a passing onto it,
So I'm guessing it's
The-
one of those things more that we got from developer notes, if I understand correctly.
Yeah,
Also-
like I said, this game had its own Ultimania guide, kind of like the Final Fantasy at point, which is called Perfect Works, but it also elaborated on the cut content. Anyway, go on,
Can
Joe.
I have a second?
Sure.
Citan told me all about your story. Do you want to talk about it? Why didn't you tell me? It sounds pretty rough. Not as rough as your girlfriend turning into the moon, but still, pretty rough, buddy.
I wish she turned into the moon.
Listen, I'm sorry for being a jerk. Just now. Forgive me, will ya?
No, not.
Whoa! Anyway, sorry to bring it up again, but...
No,
Huh? What?
Nani?
I don't like fighting like you do. I only got into that gear because I had to. I'd rather not ride them. If you want that gear so much, then you can have it. I don't want it.
You think I like fighting? Is that it?
Don't you? Sure looks that way.
Oh,
Looks
true.
can be deceiving.
It looks like the only thing you do enjoy is fighting.
I can't let that slide. Who likes fighting? Take it back. A lot of people like fighting, actually. Like it or not, I fight because I have to. I got my reasons, but you wouldn't understand.
Well, I don't have a reason to fight. I don't want to fight. I just want to live in peace and quiet.
Welcome to the
I mean-
club, buddy.
But you people keep on hounding on me to get into the gear. Why don't you just leave me alone?
It's because I see your skill and think.
Shut up about my skill!
Well, I hate it. Whenever I get into a gear, people get hurt. If I fight, people die. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want anyone to die.
Technically,
I mean,
you
that's
saved
kinda what
Ellie
happens
by
when you
getting
I
get
hate
into
it.
gear.
Can't you see that?
Well, yeah, Dubs, that's basically it. That's true. The truth of the matter is that every time he does it, bad stuff happens. So yeah.
Again, except for when he, saved Ellie or helped Bart get out of that
Hold on.
cave. What do you think the kids left behind in your village would understand?
A lot.
Citan told me about what happened in Lahan. Would it have been better if you had done nothing? Sure, that happened because you were in the gear. But even if you hadn't, people would have died, right? You weren't the reason. War, no. The people who started the war are the reason. And unless you get rid of the reason, nothing will change. I fight to get rid of the reason. I know what I'm fighting for. Right now, there is no other way, so I have to fight. But that doesn't mean I enjoy it. I understand why you would feel guilt towards the kids in your village. And I know why you don't want to harm others. But if you want to make it up to those children, don't you have to fight? You do have a reason to fight. A reason you must fight. But as long as you ignore it and continue to run away, those kids will never forgive you. Just remember that. And another thing, I'm not saying that not helping me is running away. You don't have to help. This is my problem. I don't want to get you in this against your will. But if I had your skill, I could bring all of this to an end and make it up to those kids. At least, that's what I think. Anyway, sorry to hold you up. The mechanic wanted to talk to you about your gear. You probably don't care now, but at least hear what he has to say.
I want to get in.
No, not. Get in the fucking pit roll.
Also, like I said, I'm totally sure Heimdall isn't going to be used by Citan, even though that one guy said no one else has been ever able to use it, and it just happens to match Citan's color style. No, I'm sure he won't be using it at all.
But yeah, I also really like this speech from Bart. And again, and keep in mind, we're not even done yet. The other characters will also add something to add up onto the situation.
Okay,
so again, I can also see where Fei might be coming from. Keep in mind, the emotional outburst is literally just because of all the circumstances, you know.
I do agree that Fei did need time to cool down.
Not to mention...
Attack, defense.
Oh, don't worry, Dej. What you were going to ask me instead?
I was gonna say, there wasn't really much angst in this part like you were hyping it up to be.
Okay,
he lied to me, TM.
Well, okay.
I'll go on to you.
Okay, I was just making an esteemed guess, basically.
Yeah, something. Another thing that helps is that this particular part so far we've been seeing Richard actually at his best that we'll see in later years actually, because so far in this part the translation has been pretty much
Sigurd,
on
Doc,
point.
what's up? We'd like to have a word with you.
It is a nice moment where things are moving forward.
Oh, okay. All right, time for this other important speech.
Like, there has been some angst, but it has also been about the characters finally starting to deal with it.
Alright, put it this way. If Fei's like this throughout most of the game after this...
If anything, he improves right after this. Look over here, over there.
Over there.
Oh, it's
Bart, no! Don't jump!
Again, I'm going... Go ahead, Joe, it's you.
Dad, can you hear me? Ever since I first looked in Fei's eyes, I knew that
he had
was
your
my
eyes.
Father. Oh God, imagine if Fei was his dad. He's the same as me. He'd understand me. Or so I thought. Did I just imagine it? I have no confidence. If I follow after you, Dad, it'll just be like I'm some decoration. At the moment, I can't even carry out your will, let alone rescue Margie. I told him he was only running away, but I'm really the one who wants to run away.
The young master asked me to apologize to you. Pretty strange, huh? He knows it's best to apologize in person. But the young master isn't all that good at this sort of thing. He may not look like it, but he's really quite lonely. He's always searching for a friend. We, his minders, can't become his friends.
So there you go.
Even if he wanted to, he wouldn't just see us that way. He knows that.
Ah, okay.
Why, you ask? It's because of a burden that he bears.
There you go.
Must be difficult for one so young to carry so heavy responsibility, powers and all. But he does try to do his best, you know. That is why we stick by him. There's nothing to do with him being the prince. Hey, I sense you two are carrying a heavy burden. This might be a selfish request, but would it be possible for you to help the young master? I'm asking to burden yourself with his problems or responsibilities. But could you two, with whatever it is only you two know, each know, help the other, please?
Please.
This could be the start of a very interesting friendship.
I'm sorry, I need time to think.
That's
fair. A start. Of course, take your time. It's completely up to you. Whatever you decide, we will be leaving early tomorrow morning.
It was a slow start, but I do get what Tio means about finally blossoming.
Preparing for tomorrow, probably should get some. And not just that, we're gonna need a more direct, reason.
I wish to speak to Sigurd some more. So you go ahead and get some rest.
So yeah, it's not just a matter of Bart's reasoning to fight and everything, but also the circumstances on his own. The game makes it clearly a point that while Fei has a problem, so do the people around him. Might for different circumstances, but they do bear the same weight. So he has to decide if he wants a place in the world, and in case if he can do something good with what he has right now.
I do also get the feeling that, in a sense, having to do with Fei's angst in the first bout, it could feel annoying, but in a way it does put you on a level with Fei here, because in a sense, yes, Fei is stuck in that state, but that is because so much is happening, and him, and by extension the player, has not truly had the time to settle down when you think about it. So this part where he finally does get to settle down and hopefully, get out of the angst phase could be something that ties in well with the player. Once again, finally getting this good bout of stuff, we get our bearings in and start to, accumulate more of a party. Like, you thought it would have happened with Ellie showing up, but it turns out no. In fact, quite the opposite. Ellie just ended
Things
up
got
muddling,
worse.
muddling the waters way, way more.
Before we end the part, Shiroi, what do you think?
I mean, that honestly, that wasn't as bad as I expected it to be.
Again, just an esteemed guess. So if anything, I'm glad it was proven wrong.
From what I understand, and from what I've looked up on the non-spoilery bits of TV tropes, is that apparently, in regards to how Fei's reacted to, it depends on where you live. If you live in Japan, it's more understood and everything. But if you're in the West, he comes off as annoying and or a moron.
Again,
this time similar to Final Fantasy VIII, where the localization did mess with some of the tone.
That as well, but remember, this type of characterization seems to be very common in mech animes, not just Evangelion.
And also, Citan has this thing as well. Like to Western players, he came off as a jerk.
Keep that. No, hold on, Droga. Keep these thoughts in mind, Wibs. When eventually we get far enough into the game, I will be happy to reprise what you just said.
I mean, at least for now, it seems like you can understand where each person is coming from.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I will say.
It just depends how the rest of the game handles it.
I will say this though, Citan is definitely hiding at least a few dozen things from everyone.
But that's the thing, Jova. What exactly it is, for what purpose, and is it actually important? Those are the three important.
Don't you see, guys? Bart just wants a friend, and maybe Fei could be that friend.
Yeah, that's also another thing. Again, this helps with the characterization also of Bart. He's not just, your hot-headed team like Snow in Final Fantasy XIII. There is a much deeper purpose onto this. If anything, it feels like a prototype Noctis. Go ahead, Pedro.
I only have two things to add. One, there you go, C2. Going back to that particular conversation between Fei and Darth Vader a couple parts ago. This is if the translation and overall dialogue was on the level of this part, then that scene would have gone just fine. Because the quality of the translation of that dialogue in this part 7, is on a much higher level of quality compared to the part where we had that scene. So it really is a case of where the phrasing really makes all the difference in this case, because that what was supposed to be a serious scene in the end was written in a way that was very infantile, whereas this was actually handled. Second thing, which leads into the other thing I want to add. I already mentioned. Okay, and then Richard's like, there, I did it. This scene is actually properly done. Okay. Now I can maybe sleep a bit.
Back to work.
Anyway, join us in the next part where again Fei takes a decision. And we'll see if the circumstances force his hand or not.
See
ya.
you then.
Yeah.
Yeah.